Welcome everyone to session number 57 at D365 UG India and ANZ D365 FinOps team user group. So this session is brought to you by in collaboration with these two user groups to cover the eastern side, APAC region. Today we have Ginny Wong and Shivam Pandey from Microsoft who will be talking about the new Dynamics 365 ERP Analytics MCP server, which is fresh in the list of new frameworks which Microsoft has released, and it's making a lot of buzz in the community and partner and customers ecosystem. So we will hear about what this MCP server offers. Before I hand over, just a quick housekeeping rules that please be respectful of the speakers and the attendees. Please maintain a professional decorum. All the views expressed in these sessions are from the speakers and does not represent the view of Microsoft or their employers. Any recommendations taken out of these sessions needs to be tested in a sandbox environment before applying to production environment. And this session will be recorded. So if you do not intend to be part of a recorded session, then now is a good time to disconnect. A lot of energy and effort goes behind the scenes in order to make this session happen. So on the screen, you can see all the group volunteers from ANZ D365 FinOps team and UG India team. As you can see, there are total 9 volunteers, and we are driving these initiatives to bring the best of the best to the community. And so a big kudos to all the efforts by all the volunteers. Also, without our sponsors, we can't organize the logistics. So big thank you to our sponsors, One Dynamics, OJS Business System, iSpire Solution, and Integro. With that, I'll hand it over to Shivam and Ginny to start the session. Over to you, Shivam. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachit, and thank you to the whole community for giving us this opportunity to talk about the Dynamics 365 Analytics MCP, which is part of our functionalities that we've been releasing as part of our Analytics PPA offering. So we'll talk about that, and let me just start by sharing my screen. Please let me know if you're able to view my screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Great, fantastic. Fantastic. So for a matter of brief introduction, my name is Shivam Pandey. I'm a portfolio lead for data and analytics for ERP All Up. I'm joined by Ginny Wong, who is my colleague and has been on the business performance analytics product for right from the inception and works in the data and analytics areas as well. And you probably know her far better than you know me with her engagement in the community, etc. So thank you again for the opportunity. And today what we want to do is talk about how in Dynamics 365 AI ERP, we are enabling agents and copilots using MCP for analytics and our Dynamics 365 MCP. In this presentation, I'll walk you, through what the ERP analytics MCP is, provide you some demos on how you can go leverage it, how simple it is to go use and build agents and to go deploy it, how you can even test, the MCP results with the data that's in BPA by building reports in BPA, and how you can actually leverage the report to give you the steps, etc., to go build those reports. We'll talk about high-level configuration, concentrations, and then Ginny will cover a roadmap of what's coming up new in BPA in the future, and then we'll take some questions at the end. So pretty simple, straightforward agenda for us today. So, business performance analytics. I think it's important to talk about business performance analytics before we talk about the Dynamics 365 Analytics MCP server. And the reason is that the Analytics MCP server is based on the data in business performance analytics. And what is business performance analytics? Business performance analytics is the modern data platform and foundation that we offer to our ERP customers for data analytics, reporting, and insights. And what it basically does is that it brings data across ERP, across the different products, across business processes, and stitches them together into these star schemas where no business process lives in isolation. Every business process is connected to the relevant business processes. So, for example, you can take procure to pay process. And you can start from the purchase requisition, then dive into purchase orders, product receipts, purchase invoices, payments, ledger, subledger, and get the whole gamut of data behind it to analyze how your business is doing. You're no longer looking at data in isolation, you're looking at data across business processes, and that's one of the biggest gifts that BPA brings to the users and the community and the partners to go build reporting analytics and insights on top of. And it does it in a very secure and managed way. So next, what I'm going to do is play a brief video that walks through the key functionalities existing in BPA. Many of you might have seen this many times already, and I apologize for playing this once more. But I'm always surprised the number of people who have not seen this. So it's a great starting point to get us started. So thank you for the appreciation. What you saw there is the base BPA functionality, as I would like to call it. Like with any analytics stack, it has all the basics. As part of it, as you saw, you can build your own reports using end user navigate end user accessible data models, understandable data models, and then share those reports, and all all of that is secure, right? We have row level security that secures data at the row level, and then you can build your reports on top of it. But we are taking BPA even beyond this, right? We will continue to invest a lot in building new data models, building new reports, supporting business processes across our ERP in BPA. But we want BPA to become the decision intelligence that drives agents and agentic workloads in ERP in the future. And as part of that journey, as part of that vision, what we have rolled out as one of the first components is the ERP analytics MCP. Now, what is MCP? That's the question that comes in whenever we talk about it. It's a very new terminology. It's a new framework. So it's important to, a protocol, sorry. It's important to talk about it, right? So what Model Context Protocol basically does is that it standardizes how applications provide context to LLMs. Now, it's one way when you are, creating integration between two systems. You will probably use native API integrations for these two systems to talk. Now, in the world of agentic analytics and agents, the data can reside in multiple places. The business logic can reside in multiple places, And you need an ability for your agents to access this data, this business logic in where they reside. So that you don't have to now write this complex ETLs to copy the data over, for your agents to go access it. And model context protocol provides that ability in a general way without really, for you to think about, what is the specific use case this, for example, BPA Analytics MCP, will it be used for vendor analysis? Will it be used for customer analysis? Will it be used for trial balance creation? Will it be used for manufacturing analysis? You don't know the answer, right? So this MCP provides a general protocol that connects with agents and is able to enable plethora of scenarios on top of without knowing the scenarios themselves to start with, right? So given this, so that's what the model context protocol does. And it, in a way, enables for us decision intelligence within AI ERP. And this is kind of the whole architecture, if you may, high-level diagram of how BPA functions, right? We take the data out of the core ERP products in their raw shapes, move it to the lake, where we create these dimensional models, which are all related together to form value chains. Value chains are related themselves, so you can start from one piece of data and navigate all the related data within different business processes and gain insights through them. We are also working on a functionality where you'll be able to build your own models on BPA, not just the models that we ship, so that those models can be used for reporting. Those models can be used, can be provided to your agents to do an automation within the ERP. And all of this data, again, is protected by row-level dimensional security, right? So if you have access to only certain departments, cost center, worry not, you give the user that access. And when they go view a report in BPA, they can only access the data that they have access. They can only access the data we have provided them access to. I don't know, it's around, sorry how I phrased it, but you get the point, right? So that's what this the security does. So you don't have. So what does this mean? Like previously, you probably were creating n number of reports for n consumers, right? If the report was in the same format, it's such a waste, right? Now you just create one. If you have one report, you want to share with 20 people, give them the appropriate access, share the same report, data is automatically filtered, right? So that's the power of the security we have. The same security flows through our agents, right? So agents cannot bypass our security, right? They honor the row-level security. So you can give roles and access to agents, and depending upon the role and access, they can only access certain data, right? So the security flows through to the agents as well. Now, all this data is now available to our agents through the Analytics MCP server. And what that basically enables on top is agentic analysis, Copilot assisted analysis in Excel and Power BI, directly accessing BPA data from Copilot, and also then enabling agents that can autonomously analyze your data behind the scenes, look for anomalies, duplicate payments, cash flow forecasting for you behind the scenes autonomously. Once you have designed these agents and deployed them, they can do it behind the scenes as they happen. All of these scenarios become available for our users to go use. So basically, what we're doing using our MCP server for analytics is that we are bringing people, Copilot, and agents together under the same platform. Under the same data model, so everybody's looking and at the same data, everybody's grounded at the same source, and then that's the power that the Analytics MCP brings to us. So how can you access Analytics MCP? Analytics MCP will be available, to be accessed through BPA. So like the screenshot here is the experience that we are building currently within BPA, where, within the context of a report, you're able to analyze the data on that report and beyond to give you insights on that data, right? That this is made possible by agents working with the BPA data using the Analytics MCP. The same data, same functionality that then can now be accessed even through Copilot Studio. So you can build your own agents through Microsoft Foundry. So if you are a pro developer, you want to build your own agents using our MCP, you can go do that, right? And so there are many surfaces where MCP can be exposed, agents built and deployed. by you. So we are not like locking it down. Actually, we are enabling all our users, all our partners to come build with us, right? Agents that make sense for our customers. And the real power of BPA MCP happens when it comes together with the Dynamics 365 ERP operations and MCP, right? So we have two MCPs in our ERP. One is for operational automation. So you want to automate certain functions within FNO. You can go do that with the Dynamics 365 ERP MCP. You want to do analysis, make decisions, you're going to use the Dynamics 365 Analytics MCP. And all of these accesses data, business logic, analytics that is available in your ERP and makes it available to your agents, to your users, etc. Okay, so now we'll go into demos. These are recorded demos. Some of them have audio, some of them do not have audios. For the demos that do not have audios, I'll talk through them. Where there are audios, I'll let the audio play. So in the first demo, what we're trying to show is that how easy it is to go build an agent in Copilot Studio using our Analytics MCP. And basically what we are doing is that we have an agent that we create. We call it the Dynamics 365 Analytics agent, and then basically we give it a certain set of instructions. And the instructions are basically you're going to analyze data from Dynamics 365 ERP and produce those insights to the end user and in a format that they can understand, right? So you give them the instructions, you give them the description of the agent, then you go in and add the MCP for analytics, right? So that's one step, and it will probably show up in a second here as that happens. So like here, we are searching for a tool. We go to the MCP section. We search for the Analytics MCP, and we add the Analytics MCP. It might take a few minutes here to get that added. But once the Analytics MCP has been added to that agent is fully functional now. It can query your ERP data, answer your questions in natural language, and that is the number of steps it required to go create that agent. That's it. So that is how powerful this functionality is. Now, once you have created this agent, very easy to go create this agent. What you can then do is that you can start asking it some questions. And what in this next demo, what I've done is that there's another agent I created. I called it the Business Performance Analytics agent. Similar kind of instructions, same MCP server behind the scene, no difference. And I'm going to ask it to do something complex for me. I'm going to ask it to analyze the top 10 vendors in legal entity USMF. If you think about this question, this is not a simple aggregation question. It is a very complex question because you need to understand who the vendors are, what is the entities for vendors. You need to figure out what their, where do the financial transactions reside. So basically the related invoices, the related taxes, etc. You need to sum them all out and figure out who you have been buying the most from, right? So it is not just a simple aggregation. You have to figure out the table structures, relationships, and then write a query to get this data. So it's pretty complex. So let me just walk through what I do, right? So basically, I send a simple question to the agent that I've created. Find top 10 vendors by spend in company USMF. What it does is that it invokes the tool that is the Dynamics 365 Analytics MCP tool, and then looks at what are the subtools available in there. So basically, there are two tools that are available for my MCP server. One is get schema. So give me the schema within BPA. Right? It takes all the tables, all the relationships, and it gives it to the agent. Now, agent is figuring out, okay, who is the vendor? Who is the purchaser? Which entity is the purchase invoices? Where are the taxes? Now, let me write a DAX query. You'll see in a second. Let me write a DAX query to go sum these things up. And then I'm going to go execute that DAX query on your data to get the results back. Right, so it does all of these complex operations. As you see, it's writing the DAX query that's going to execute on the data, right? And then it uses the execute DAX to go run it, and you'll get the results in a second. So I'll let it come back with the results. again, like if you read through this, and for purpose, I've left it slow. It's figuring out relationships, right? You're not defining any of it. You asked a simple question, right? What are the top 10 vendors? You're not defining the relationships. You're not defining, oh, look at this table and everything else. It is figuring it out itself, right? And that is the power of it, that you do not have to be proficient in the data models. You do not have to be proficient in knowing where a specific, field resides for our agents to answer questions for you. You just have to ask the question. I mean, that is the power of it. And here you go. You have the top 10 vendors listed. Some of you may have great memory, so I would like some of you to memorize some of these numbers, because I'll show you some magic in the future in the video. Because what we do at the end is we create the same report in BPA. And before I go do that, I'm going to ask the MCP, how should I create the same report in BPA, right? Because I don't know. I'm a new user. I don't know how to use MCP, right? So once I've looked at the numbers, I'm going to say, okay, I want to show me how do I go create this within BPA. So it's going to give me the steps, right, of exactly I can take to build the same report in BPA, so I can verify the data. Now, this is super important because we hear this all the time, right? How do we trust your agents? How do we trust your AI, right? Because we hear a lot of stories where AI hallucinates. And so this question is very natural to come up. You can trust our AI because our AI is not doing predictions, doing calculations by token predictions. It's creating code. It's writing DAX functions that you can absolutely verify yourself whether those are accurate, to see if the data is accurate. On the top of that, we also have a whole reporting stack which sources from the same data source. So you can build your own reports, right? So there you go. It should give you the exact steps to build your own reports. And then in the next, I build a report and you see same numbers for all of these. So given its code generation, its DAX functions, it's based on a semantic model that has relationships defined, common terminology is defined, glossary defined, agents can interpret things much better. They can produce highly accurate information. And we are seeing a lot of use around this from our customers and partners. Okay. What are the tools available today as part of Analytics MCP? So there are two tools available today as part of Analytics MCP. One is the Get BPA Dataset Schema. So this basically gives you what tables exist, what fields exist, what's the relationship between tables, what are the common names, et cetera, et cetera. And this enables agents to interpret your data, right? And then execute DAX query. Once the agents have created the DAX query, they can run it on your BPA semantic model, get the results and show it to you. So those two tools are available, and we plan to add many, many more tools for you in this MCP server, and Jeannie will talk about that in the future. Okay, so the next one is a very interesting demo, right? Because like I'm saying, that the power really comes into picture when you combine the Analytics MCP with the ERP MCP, Operations MCP, right? So you're doing analysis, and then you're making decisions on that analysis, and then you're taking actions autonomously in ERP. And there are many scenarios that you can think of, you can enable using this, right? The scenario that I'm going to walk through, it's not a great scenario. I can tell you right away. When one of my engineers built it, and it's not the best, but at least what you can get out of this is the possibility. And the surfaces that you see in this demo is also critical, because what we show is probably is coming in the future, how through Copilot you'll be able to analyze the ERP data. You don't even have to step out into a different surface to analyze your ERP data. You'll be able to do it right through Copilot. So let me just run through this. So basically, what we are trying to do here is that we are going to create an agent that looks at vendor data and then sets the vendor on hold. And basically what it does is that if you look in the middle section there, it interacts with multiple tools. It interacts with the Analytics MCP to do the decision intelligence, and then it interacts with the ERP MCP to take actions, and then it interacts with the Outlook MCP to send you emails about what action it took. So you are informed about what's going on, right? So here in Copilot, integrated through Copilot, I ask a specific question, okay, I want to analyze a certain vendor. It will bring up all the data about that vendor and give a recommendation of what it wants to do. And then even it takes an action for you, that is blocking the customer because your rule said go block the vendor, sorry, blocking the vendor because your rule said go block the vendor. And it will send you an email at the end of it. It's end-to-end if you think of it automation. You asked a question. You don't even have to ask this question. Remember, this is just for demo purposes. A total autonomous system cannot be demoed, right? Think of that. So I cannot just come here and say, hey, things happen. I have to show you. I took an action in the first step, and then everything else is automated. But imagine you can just automate all of it, right? On a regular basis, analyze all your vendors, analyze all your customers, analyze all your master data for issues, for that matter, right? And take actions to fix those things directly in the ERP autonomously, and then give you a summary of what all has happened. If there are workflows, it will honor the workflows too, right? It will not do things for you on your behalf and not skip the workflows. So very, very solid functionality, enabling decision intelligence and autonomous actions in ERP together. And so that was the flow, basically, right? We asked a question to the Analytics MCP server in BPA. Copilot got the answer back. Then it took some action using the ERP MCP server within the ERP. Cool. I'm not watching any questions, so I think this is a great time to pause and see if there are any questions on this matter. Or do you want me to continue, Rachit? Let me know.
We have few questions, Shivam. If you want to take now, we can take them quickly.
Okay.
Okay, so I think there was a question from Faisal, which Ginny has answered, but if you want to add anything to it, that are there any plans to transition from existing financial reports to BPA platform?
Okay, great question. I think the way to think about this is that most of analytics in ERP over time will accrue to BPA, right? In some way, shape, or fashion. Today, if you look at the functionality that's available in BPA, you can do some financial reporting or most of the financial reporting out of it. What's missing there is like the pixel perfect reports, right? That you can build and generate the financial statements and all of that. And we have plans to go add those as well. We are moving most of the analytical reporting stack to BPA. The things that we are not moving is like the precision printed reports, the SSRS reports that we have in the ERP that are hooked to print management, right? The print management reports we're not going to move, but everything else, eventually in fullness of time will be available through BPA.
Thanks for that. There was a technical question on how does the get BPA dataset schema understand custom table. Ginny has answered that. Thanks, Ginny, for that. Yeah, I think we can move forward. We can take more questions towards the end. Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you. Appreciate it, Richard. So prerequisites. What do you need to get BPA MCP or Analytics MCP installed? You need an FNO version 0.38 or higher. That's the basic requirement. You need to have business performance analytics installed because it uses the BPA data model, right, to answer your questions. Version 2.5 or above. And then you need to have roles and permissions set up for the agent within BPA, right, as a user. So those are the prerequisites, right? These are the steps that you can access the Analytics MCP in Visual Studio Code to use it with Copilot within Visual Studio Code, or if any other tool that you use, right? And build even more variety of functionality on top of our MCP. Like you can, so these are the steps to go do that. And the demos that I had shown you today, most of them were built using Copilot Studio. So it is one of my preferred tools because it is very end user friendly to go, build an agent there and use it. So there is also a surface where our Analytics MCP is available. Considerations. Now this is key because as new protocols come in, we need to really think about how to use those protocols more efficiently. And we all will learn, right, together, and we'll adjust together. But from the from the journey we have so far, these are the considerations that you should consider, right? One is that the data is as fresh as it is in BPA, and today we have 2 refreshers. We're going to go to more refreshers in the future, but that is always the data is only fresh as it is in BPA. It doesn't directly go to the ERP currently, right? But so that's one of the key limitations that you need to understand and consider as you're building solutions on top of it that exists currently. Now, there are quite a lot of models out there. I would like you to test it yourself and figure out the best model for your use case. But generally speaking, ChatGPT 5 Plus or Claude Sonnet or Opus are good models to use for analytics, is what we have found in our investigations. I'm going to skip agent instructions. I think that's pretty straightforward, but performance integration, right? I mean, the maximum amount of time the connection can be open is 120 seconds, right? So you need to take that into account so that when you're framing questions, it doesn't cross that, right? If you're framing question, aggregate all the data from the last 1 year and create a trial balance report, yeah, that's gonna time out. Right, so we need to build our instructions in a way that it doesn't, cross the timeout limits. Otherwise, your queries will fail to execute. Right, and the total amount of data you can fetch at a time is 10 MB, and we continue to add and grow it, but that's our current limitation that we have in the system. From a performance perspective, I would say try to limit the amount of data that you extract using the MCP, because more the data, more the timeout issues, more the 10 MB data return limit issues that you run into. And so make it multi-step if possible to improve your performance. And then security, make sure your agents have similar security as your users so that there's no oversharing of data, etc., that is happening as part of that. So those are some of the considerations that you must carry as you're building on the analytics MCP. So now another question comes in, like, what can we build? Like, that's one of the scenarios that you showed, but what else can we build? And so here are the list of questions our customers are building, right, on the BPA MCP, presented to you as examples, so that you can get motivated to build things like that, right? They're asking questions like, what is our profit and loss trends over the last 12 months on using the MCP, and they're getting the answers. They're asking, like, who are the top 10 customers by revenue, right? So all these kinds of questions, and if you look at them, these are not simple questions. These are moderate, complex questions, right? So you can go ask on the MCP that we have and get real accurate answers most of the times. Okay, so that was my part. And in the next part, what we're going to go do is that Jeannie is going to talk about what else is happening in BPA, because there's lots happening in BPA. There's lots on the roadmap. So she's going to walk us through that. And then at the end of the session, we'll take more questions and then go from there. So Jeannie, off to you.
All right. Thank you, Shivam. Let me see. Can I control the slides now?
Try asking.
Okay, I think I have control.
Okay, cool.
All right. So there's lots happening in BPA, like Shiva mentioned. I think one of the things that we're focusing on this year is building out the BPA data model. So it's actually, I want to start off with a question. As you've used, or if you've been exposed to BPA and you've seen the data model that's available, as we expand BPA across the value chains, we would like to know, like, if you want to understand the availability and of the roadmap for specific value chains in BPA, like what value chains are most valuable to you. And then would you like to request access to maybe the analytical tables or semantic models in a preview or like a limited release capacity? and you would do this basically to do, enable your partner teams to begin development using BPA. So just say, for example, you want to build out, a project operations model, but you don't want to do it yourself. So you want to see if there's a way you could maybe early access to this. We'd love to hear about it. How we'd like to hear about it, we'd love it if you could go onto our ideas portal and maybe put your ideas in there requesting access or early access to these models and which models you're most interested in. So part of what's been released recently is in December of last year, Power BI Embedded actually enabled Power BI visual calculations. So because BPA is in an embedded Power BI environment, in the past, you couldn't create measures, right? So any measures that you wanted to create, any measure extensibility, you actually had to bring it out into Fabric, create your measures there, and then publish your reports in Fabric environment. Well, now, because Power BI Embedded has enabled Power BI visual calculations, you now have the ability to do calculations within your visual. So these are pretty simple calculations, additions, subtractions, running sums, and totals, simple ones like that. Just keep in mind, this is stored in the visual, not in the model. So if you have, say, a table and you create like a running sum on the table, it will stay within the visual. It's not going to show up over on the data pane on the right. You can't reuse it on other visuals. There's no further personalization, and it's only scoped for that visual. Now, in addition to that, in version 2.7 that just came out, and it's hitting all the regions that we have, we've also created the ability to extend your measures within BPA using custom measures. So this means that if you have BPA 2.7 installed and you have Power BI Desktop installed and you have a BPA admin role, you will be able to now create custom DAX measures in BPA and then load it back up into BPA. And now it's part of your data model. For anybody who has access to your data model, they can also use it. We're very excited about this one because now this creates a lot more capability for building dashboards and reporting. So essentially what you would do is we give you a BPA semantic model that you can download. You can open the semantic model in Power BI Desktop. You can edit your measures. You can add new measures. You can add calculated columns, and you can upload that PBIX report as a PBIP report, and that it will become part of your data model. So this is, again, something we're super excited about. So you do need to be on version 2.7 of BPA, and then you will be able to see this capability. I have a short demo. So I'm going to go ahead and run this.
Today, I'm going to introduce custom measures, a new extensibility feature in business performance analytics, available starting version 2.7.
There's an echo, Jimmy.
Measures let you define your own business metrics using DAX directly on top of BPA's managed data, without breaking governance and without impacting future upgrades. At a high level, the workflow is simple. Author and test DAX measures
Very good. Super excited about that one. If you're on BPA, please get on 2.7. Definitely start using it. Do give us feedback if you run into any issues. We'd love to hear about it. And if you have a really interesting scenario that you're using it for and you want to present it, please reach out to me. We have office hours every Tuesday, 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. PST, and I'd love to be able to feature. If it's not on your time zone, you can also send me a video, but we'd love to feature what you've done. Right, so let's talk about the roadmap real quick. So this year, January of this year, we rolled out the MCP server in public preview, and this has been a huge move forward for us. We're really excited about what the MCP server can do, and we continue to discover and find new and amazing things that we can do with it. Now, as part of the 2.7 release that's on the way out right now, custom measures was released. You'll also see acquired to retired table. So the tables are in there already, so that means you can start writing reports on it. So that's also available. So that's your fixed assets, your fixed asset leasing. All of that's available as well. We've also done some optimization on the Power BI semantic model. So what this means is that if what we're saying right now is with the current, the current pipeline that we have, if your data fits within 500 gigabytes, we can bring you in and make you successful. So we've enabled larger Power BI capabilities to be able to support larger data sets. We still will give you your 8 quarters of data, but at least it'll allow us to bring in more customers. Now in April, we're going to focus a lot on more reliability and optimization. So you won't see too many features come out, but you should be able to see more, your refreshes will happen on time and you won't have as much downtime. As we go into May, financial tags will be brought in as well. But we're also hoping in April and May to be able to release some new reports, maybe for fixed assets and around order to cash. Or maybe we'll start working with some reporting around the LTV server as well. Now, when we hit the June timeframe, this is where a lot of the major changes will come in. We'll be doing event-based refresh. That means that we'll give you the capability to select a kind of a start time and then allow you to refresh up to 6 times a day. Eventually, over time, you'll be able to refresh more than that, but there'll be a license associated with it. So as we get closer to that, we'll be able to give you more information on it. In addition to that, we also will be able to improve your install experience as you migrate to tables in the lake. So installations will become a lot faster and a lot more reliable, and so you'll be able to see that. Now later on this calendar year, we're going to move towards progressive load. So this is like the first time you install BPA right now, it takes 24 hours. So with progressive load, when you install BPA, you'll immediately start seeing your data. And most recent data will start coming in right away. So you'll be able to see and utilize BPA immediately. Also, later on this year, you're going to be able to see BPA installed on environments by default. The flows will be turned off, so we're not going to be using up your Dataverse capacity, but at least the install experience is complete. And then you can go in and initiate use of it by enabling flows. Any questions on the roadmap?
Anyone has any question, please feel free to unmute. I just have one question, Ginny. Will the installation become automated? Like we have noticed when we deploy UDE on finance template, BPA is automatically installed in Dataverse. So is that going to become a default tool available for customers when they deploy FNO?
Yeah, it's on the roadmap to install by default without, and that will probably come later this year. Yeah, the other thing on the roadmap that we don't have a date for yet is custom column extensibility. So custom measures is in right now. Now we want to bring in custom column for your custom fields. Custom column extensibility will come later this year as well. I see a question on deep dive boot camps for architects. We've done a couple of online boot camps. We are going to be planning some boot camps this year, and I would say probably be after the June timeframe. We're going to probably aim for online boot camp. And so we'll keep you posted on that one.
Thank you. Anyone has any question? Feel free to unmute and you can ask. Otherwise, yeah, Ginny, you can move forward.
So on the ERP analytics roadmap, So public preview is done. We have the two MCP tools, the ERP analytical schema, and the query. We have integrations to Copilot Studio and Visual Studio, and actually any other CLI that can support MCP. Also coming up with MCP tools, we're looking into maybe more granular schema retrieval, some report writing tools, measure creation or measure discovery or complex measure discovery tools. These are all things that we're testing and looking for as well. And then eventually there'll be native integration in BPA. So very exciting, super excited for what's coming up. So I did put these links earlier as far as additional resources and what's available. So the really good resource on where you can find everything. Like I mentioned, we do have a Viva Engage site for BPA, BPM, CP servers covered there. Archiving is covered there. Financial reporting also, we can take questions there. So come and join us. The Viva Engage page is very active. It's a great place to come in and ask your questions or even just look for answers most of the time. On there, I've also posted, we post every single customer advisory board meeting that we have. We host one a month, last Thursday of the month, 8 a.m. PST, not so friendly for your time, but we have recordings of it that we also post on there. So you can always catch up with the summary and the recording, as well as weekly office hours. So every office hours that we have, you'll have a recording and a summary there as well. So it's a really good way to stay up to date with what's happening with BPA and with the analytics MCP. In addition to that, we've got some more resources on the MCP MCP protocol, so please go ahead and read that. And if you have any questions, please do reach out to us.
Yeah.
I think that
Just
brings us to the end. Yeah, go ahead.
Just on behalf of ANZ community, we would request some office hours during ANZ time zone as well. Your office hours are like at 3 a.m. our time, which is very hard to join.
So I do have one office hours at 4 p.m. PST, which is, I believe, your AM. I think it's like 8 or 9 a.m. your time. So that, and it's on every Thursday, and the link is on Viva Engage. And usually that's more of a Q&A because I've already posted the recording from the morning, but I'm always there. I'm there every Tuesday. So unless I cancel it, please do join. I'm happy to answer questions or even just have a chat.
Thank you. Thanks for answering the questions in chat window, Shivam. Anyone has any question? Anyone wants to unmute and want to discuss anything?
So I'll generally mention some of the answers to some of the questions, because I think sometimes people don't see it in the recordings. Yeah. One, there's a question about whether we need GitHub Copilot license. I think you do need GitHub Copilot license for you to be able to use this. The MCPs within Visual Studio. Is there a price for MCP usage? Yes, there is a price. And there is a link that I provided in the chat. Hopefully that you're able to access that in the future. But there's different price points for using MCP depending upon the tools you're calling it from. And then there was another question about security within BPA, and is it same as XDS? And just want to clarify, XDS security is part of FNO, and it only applies to certain scenarios, certain tables. BPA has its own row-level dimensional security model, which is far more granular and applies evenly across all tables, not just all tables, right? Once you set it up, it applies across every table in the model, so it's different. And then you have to set up the user with security role before you enable them to access that data. So those are some of the questions I just wanted to revise, that I posted answers in chat so that everybody heard those as well.
Thank you, Shivam. For customers who want to start exploring this tool, what is the best way forward? Is there any preview program they can join, or they have to learn by watching the videos?
So you do have to have BPA installed. You need to be on minimum version 2.5. And then you should be able to, follow the instructions on Learn and either use Visual Studio or Copilot Studio's to be able to connect to the MCP server, and then you can be able to get going. I'm not very technical myself. I did it myself this week using GitHub Copilot. It was very cool. I even connected it to Cloud Code, and I'm amazed.
Right.
I'm personally very amazed with what we can do with it.
Right.
Very excited for what we can do with it.
Yeah, and then for everybody, like Jeannie's background is finance, right? She is a CFO in a previous life, accountant CFO in a previous life, and if she can use these tools and do it herself, right? And she's pretty technical. I'm not going to say that she's not, but she's very good in what she does. But if her role can use it, any of the finance roles can use it. That's what we want to say.
Yeah, I do encourage you that if you don't have BPA installed, please install BPA. Definitely check it out, and then definitely check out the MCP server. It's a game changer for sure.
The question is, will it cost to test it? Yeah, the AI credits are not optional. Like you have to buy AI credits. You might get some AI credits as part of your entitlement. So do check, how much you get and if those are enough for you to test it. If not, you will have to purchase some.
Thank you. There's a question, is it best to use BPA with customer and convince them for shift or keep continuing using financial reporting or management reporting tool?
No, I think customers, go ahead, Ginny.
I know, go ahead. I'll add on the end.
Yeah, so the customers should continue to use financial reporting and management reporting for their financial and management reporting needs. BPA will get there someday, and when it does, we will actually broadcast that and let everybody know that, hey, it's time to move on from FR and MR to BP, but that time has not come yet. I mean, we still have to bridge some gaps that exist between the two functionalities, and so that's going to take a little bit of time. So we don't plan to do that anytime soon. So continue to use the tools that you're using, continue to invest in BPA star and analyze like if it meets your need and doesn't meet your need. Now, here's what I'm going to say. For some customers, they will look at BP and say that it meets my need, I'm going to use it for my financial reporting too. And it's great. If you want to go do that, if it meets your need, go ahead and do that. For more complex customers, they're going to say, maybe not. I'm going to wait because I don't have the report writing capabilities that exist in FRMR that I need to write. So there's some of those complex reports. Wait, we'll continue to support existing platforms until we have parity and we can, support you with confidence. So that is the promise that we provide our customers.
And just to add on to that, right? Like all customers have analytics. They're doing analytics in somewhere. There's some Excel spreadsheet and some cube somewhere that's being built. Help them understand how they can use BPA instead. Now, especially with custom measures, right? Now we've just created a whole new skill and ability within BPA. It just makes things a whole lot easier. And as we continue to build out the ERP model, right now you have the finance model, you have fixed assets, AP, AR, GL. You've got everything you need for your month-end analytics, etc. It's the best place for them to get started. It's the best place for them to start exploring. The best thing about BPA is then now you can enable your users, right? You take all the reporting requirements out of the hands of IT, and now you give your reports into the hands of the users, and now you've enabled a whole set of users to become report writers. You throw the MCP server on top of that, and it really becomes a game changer. So I would say definitely start talking to your customers about BPA. Definitely start introducing BPA to them because it is definitely the direction that we're moving in, and it does give them a whole lot more. And all the cubes that they've built, they're going to be able to see how Microsoft can actually support them in that. They don't have to continue to maintain it.
Thanks, Jenny. Thanks, Shivam, for this clarification. It was much needed. We have 5 more minutes. If anyone has any question, wants to unmute and bring up any point. Cool. I don't think there are more questions, but in case someone has any question, feel free to reach out to one of the volunteers, or you can reach out to Ginny and Shivam. They are very active in engaging with the community. So yeah, we are, as a community, can provide a channel to Microsoft and get these answers clarified. So cool. Anyone else? But I just want to say thanks to Shivam and Ginny for sparing their time and spending with us. It is very insightful, very we have to align with Microsoft direction, and these type of sessions really help us to start thinking and aligning our thought process as well.
Yep. Thank you for having us. Really appreciate it. And hopefully this is the 57th. I'm hoping that we'll come to the 100th with you guys and present something
Definitely
in this forum and many more, thousands. So I wish you guys all the best as well with this great initiative going for all our community members. So thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a great session.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, there's one really quick question, if I can just take this last one. Since a lot of customers have invested a lot in the existing models, creating a lot of Power BI reports, what's your recommendation for them to move to BPA? This is a classic example of how BPA can add value to them. Every Power BI report and every model they build, they have to continue to maintain. If we can take that maintenance away from them, I have customers right now that say, if Microsoft has written this model, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to have 2 or 3 people managing this model for me. I'm just going to leverage what Microsoft has done and build on that. These models are built for you. We've structured them in such a way that they are schema, they are semantic, and they are fully extensible. So if we continue to build it and maintain it for you, definitely expose it to your customer and give them the option of simplifying their lives and simplifying what they're doing by using BPA. So great question. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. All right, then. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Sorry, is there any question? I thought someone was saying something. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend. And thanks, Shivam and Jenny, once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate
Thank you,
it. Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.